go. It's Friday, November 24th, Tuesday. Sorry. It's it's Tuesday. It feels like Friday. November 24th. Last class before Thanksgiving. This is Yoga Flow. So start to sit comfortably. So if you're at home and you need to sit up on a blanket, by all means do. Let yourself get comfortable in your hips, however you're sitting. And then have blocks handy by you so that you can just reach over and get them if you need them. And just close your eyes now and let your shoulders soften down away from your ears. And feel your breath coming in and going out through your nose. And if you can easily let the breath come in and go out a little more fully and deeply, feeling the belly expand and rising up through the ribs to the chest. When you exhale, letting the breath come out of the chest and then the ribs and then the belly. And then let your hands come on out beside you, fingertips lightly touching the floor there. And we'll inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come down through the midline to come in front of our chest. And then reverse, keeping the hands together, inhaling up through the midline. And on the exhale, opening the arms on back out and down. And let's flex through our feet, sitting cross-legged here if you can. If not, it's fine to stretch your legs out. And come on forward and ease your way forward. So it doesn't matter if you stay up really high. Maybe you feel like you want to keep going forward. You know, another thing you can do is even grab those blocks and let your head rest on blocks if that feels good, so that you're really letting yourself be supported instead of your head hanging. It just feels a little bit differently, but it's fine to go ahead and just let yourself release forward to wherever you want to be. One more breath here. And then we'll slowly come up. Bring your blocks on out beside you again here now. And then let your left block go farther away from you. Keep your hand on it there. We're going to rise the right arm up overhead and come over into a little side stretch there. So turning the palm of the right hand to face the floor, letting yourself open up through that side of the body. And then we'll come on back up, and we're going to bring the block back in on that side and let the right hand go out farther on your block there. And then rising the left arm on up and coming on over into side stretch here. Breathing into that side. Good. And then we'll rise on back up to center, letting your hands come behind you. Clasp your hands here together. Squeeze your palms even together so your elbows bend more. Feel your biceps engaging. Feel the engagement all the way up into the shoulders here. And then we'll release. We're going to switch the cross of our legs to bring the other leg in front. So take your time. If you need to stretch your legs out, do. Flex through the feet here. And again, we're going to come forward. So if you liked that support of a block or blocks, you can come forward and maybe use the blocks again if it felt good. So if not, it's fine to release forward, fold as far forward as feels good to you. Just let yourself breathe into your back, feeling the back ribs expand as you inhale. One more breath here. And then we'll slowly come on back up. And once you get up to the top here, take a nice inhale. And on the exhale, twist to your right. Bring your left hand on around, maybe to your right knee, maybe more to the midline, but coming on around, waking up the spine here. Finding that twist in the middle of the back. And one more inhale. And on the exhale, we'll come on back around through center and go off into the other direction. So find that sense of length in the back of your neck. Chin parallel to the floor, reaching up through the top of the head. And then draw your right sit bone down a little more towards the ground. One more breath. And then on the exhale, we'll come on back around into center. And let's inhale our arms out into a T position. And then bring your left arm on top of your right. Give yourself a hug, however you want to, more towards your armpits or up and over your shoulders with your hands. Let your chin come on down towards your chest. Release the back of the neck there. And then roll your left ear towards your left shoulder a little bit, coming into releasing through the right side of the neck. And then come back through center and we'll roll the right ear towards the right shoulder. And then coming on back with the chin down, and we'll inhale the head up to chin parallel to the floor. If you want to go ahead and come into a full eagle arm wrap, you can. That's up to you. You can stay hugging if you'd rather. Allowing the shoulders to release here. And then we'll release to bring the hands on down, fingertips lightly touching the floor. And inhale the arms straight back out from your shoulders again. And this time we'll bring the right arm on top for that hug. Again, how you hold on is up to you for your hugging here. And then letting the chin come on down. Let yourself release there. And roll your head, right ear towards the right shoulder. And then come on back through center and go the other way. So just letting yourself release through your neck. Through the upper back. Coming back to center here. And once you inhale the head up to where the chin is parallel to the floor, you decide if you want to head towards a half eagle, back of the left hand to the outside of the right elbow, or come into your full wrap, or stay hugging. Whatever feels the best for your shoulders. Good, and then we'll unfold our arms on down, fingertips lightly coming onto the floor again, and we'll inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come down through the midline to be in front of our chests, in front of our hearts. And we'll unfold our arms here. We're going to come on around towards our hands and knees. So move however you need. If you need to shake anything out, do. Take your time. Once you get on around, if you need that blanket underneath your hands or your knees, use it. Or if you need to come on to fists. But then go ahead and stretch your right foot back behind you on the floor and curl your toes under, press into your heel, engage your belly a little bit here. And go ahead and look back at your right foot for a second. Let your head hang there. And then bring your gaze between your hands. And we're going to switch to bring that right knee down. Send the left foot back. Go ahead and look back at your foot for a second. Really open up through the back of the leg there, feeling your calf and the back of the leg all the way up. And then bring your gaze back between your hands. And we'll bring that left knee back under us. We're going to set up for some cat-cow here. So starting to move with your own breath. Get the sensation almost like you're flowing through your spine. And if you feel like staying, remember, in cat or cow without moving for a breath or two, that's fine. Let your body adjust. Good. We'll finish off the one we're on. Let's come on back to more neutral spine. And let's bring our left foot forward. We're going to come into lunge, but let's leave the back knee down for a second. So if you need to slip a blanket under your right knee, do. Let yourself then start to shift your hips forward and let that ease happen there, opening through the front of the right hip. Now, how far you go is up to you. Just take your time. Press into the top of the right toes a little bit so you're engaged. And we're going to switch and go to the other leg. So bringing that right foot forward. And again, as you bend that knee and shift your hips forward, press into the top of the left foot back there so you're engaged. You feel that openness in the front of the left hip. Good. And let's bring the right knee back again, and we're going to step the left foot back forward, and this time curl our toes under and lift up into our lunge. Wherever you want your hands to be, whatever height, on the blocks or the floor. Take your time. Feel the feet pressing gently away from each other. And then straighten your left knee out a little bit. Let that right heel descend directly back towards the ground. Extend your torso out over that inner left leg so that you come into the backs of both legs here. And then we'll bend the left knee, come back to lunge again. And we're going to switch legs from here. So however you like, whether you like to step forward or back. Get set up in the lunge here. Feel the feet pressing gently away from each other on the mat. And then when you're ready to straighten that front leg out and the hips shift back a little bit, really opening up now through the backs of both legs, just look at that right foot. Make sure you're not rolling to the outside, to the pinky toe side of your foot. And then just enjoy letting the backs of the legs release here. So one more breath. And then we're going to bend the front knee. And from here, step forward and come on into our standing forward bend. Feet hips distance apart and parallel. And see if you can shift forward onto the balls of the feet, lifting your heels up. And then shift back to your heels and lift your toes up, but keep the balls of the feet on the floor. So a couple of these little shifts, rising the heels up, and then bringing them down and lifting the toes up. Knees can stay soft. Just take your time. Let yourself just come back and forth a few times there. And then finish off where you're now just right back into all four corners of the feet on the floor, releasing, using support if you need underneath your hands, coming into your standing forward bend. Enjoy the weight of your head, releasing through your face and your jaw. One more nice full deep breath here. And then we'll bring our hands to our hips. We're going to bend our knees, press into our feet, and rise up. And inhale the arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. So coming into mountain pose here, adjust however you need to. Get yourself set there, feeling very equal between your feet. And then bend your knees a little bit. Imagine you're pressing the floor away from you with your feet. And then as you start to lift up your thighs a little bit, legs come straighter. You don't want to lock the knees, but you are engaged. Thighs are gently lifting up. Hips over ankles, tailbone reaching down towards between your heels. Shoulders over hips. Feel your hands easily connected there in front of your chest. And then we'll unfold our arms on down beside us and inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And on the exhale, bend the knees as you come forward into your standing forward bend. Let your next inhale help you find a nice long flat back. And we'll step the right foot back and come into lunge here. And inhale. Exhale into your downward facing dog pose.
So take your time, walk a little bit in your dog. See if you can even walk all the way to the top of 1 foot at a time. So you press into the top of the toes 1 foot at a time. Wake the feet up a little bit more. And then finish off back where you're equal now between your feet. Knees can be bent or straight. Feel your elbows hugging towards each other. Reaching back through your sit bones, feeling equal through the sides of the body. And let your next inhale bring you on out to plank. Engaging here. And then we're going to lower down. So if you want to put your knees down first, do. Elbows right by the ribs. And let's come on into a little cobra. Let it stay low. So barely use your hands. Feel your elbows hugging in towards your ribs. And then imagine you're kind of dragging your hands down towards your waist. So you feel a different engagement that way. One more breath. And then we'll release back down. We're going to come back to down dog, whether you come through a full or a half push-up or back to your hands and knees and then back into your down dog. And from here, we'll bring our right foot forward. Whether you want to put your left knee down to get there is up to you. And we'll come on back into standing forward bend. So if you can lift all your toes up, do. And some of you might even want to slip your fingers under your toes a little bit with the palms kind of on top of your feet. And then some of you might even want to turn your palms up and slip your whole hands under your feet where the palms are facing up and your toes would kind of press into the heels of your hands. And you know, if your back doesn't do that kind of thing, don't do it. Don't force it. Let the breath easily come in and go out. Good. And then we'll release our hands up to our hips, bend our knees, press into our feet and rise on up to standing. Inhaling the arms out and up. And on the exhale, bringing our hands down together in front of our hearts. Let's unfold our arms and clasp our hands behind us here now. Let yourself take a nice inhale, 3 parts, into the belly, then into the ribs, then up into your chest. And as you exhale, bend your knees and come on forward. Now stay parallel to the floor at first. Let yourself have a tabletop back there. Reach back through your tailbone. Reach out through the top of your head. And it is up to you whether you want to continue to fold forward over your legs or not. You know that. You can stay with that flat back. You can bring your arms away from the back if you choose to. Letting your shoulders release where you can. And then we'll let the hands come on down. Let your next inhale help you find that flat back. Lengthen out the spine here. And this time left foot will come back into lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your downward facing dog pose. Let's inhale out to plank. Let's do a little side plank. Shifting to your left hand. Now you can put your left knee down if you want and do that variation of side plank where you use the bottom foot like a kickstand and come into your variation there of your side plank. Or you can do your full side plank if you choose. And then we'll come on back into plank here. Take your time. Walk your plank a little bit. Bend a knee at a time. Let the belly stay nice and strong. Zip up the low belly. And then we'll go to the other side. So you can put your right knee down and shift the right foot back a little bit and come into your side plank variation. Or you can come into your full side plank here if you choose. And then we'll come on back into plank. And again, take your time. Walk a little bit. And then come to full plank. And we're going to lower down. Knees first if you need. Elbows right by the ribs. And we'll come into a cobra. Either staying low like we did. Or if you want to go ahead and press into the hands and rise up higher if you're comfortable to do that. Elbows hugging in. And then we'll come on back down. We're going to make our way back to dog. However you want to get there. Hands and knees, half or full push-up. And we'll bring the left foot forward and come into lunge. And then we'll make our way back into standing forward bend. From here, bend your knees just a little bit. And imagine you're trying to make your mat wider with your feet. So pressing the feet away from each other. Make sure you're not rolling, though, to the outsides of the feet. So really feel the four corners of the feet into the floor. And then let your hands walk over to the right, maybe kind of a little bit towards the outside of your right foot. Doesn't matter how far. And then come back through center, and we'll go to the left. And then come on back into center. If you're able to hold your elbows, go ahead and let your hands release to softly hold your elbows there. If it doesn't feel good, use support. And we'll release our hands back to our hips. Bend our knees and rise on up. And inhale the arms all the way out and up overhead. On the exhale, we're going to fold forward. Start to move here with our breath. Inhale into a nice long back. Exhale, right foot back into lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your down dog. Let your inhale carry you to plank. And your exhale lower you down. And inhale into your cobra. Exhale back to downward dog. Inhale. Exhale, right foot forward to lunge. And inhale. Exhale, standing forward bend. Bend the knees, rising all the way up to the top with the breath. Let your exhale bring you forward. Inhale into that nice long back. Exhale, left foot back to lunge. Inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. Let your inhale bring you to your plank. Your exhale lowering you down. Inhale into that cobra of choice. And exhale back to down dog. Inhale. Exhale, left foot forward. Lunge and inhale. Exhale, standing forward bend. Bend the knees, rising up, arms flowing to the top. And on the exhale, we're going to fold forward again. Let your inhale lengthen your spine. We're going to walk into down dog. Or jump if you want. Come into down dog however you want. Walk a little bit, wag your tail if you want. Let your head move around if that feels good. Good. From here, we're going to bring our left foot forward to a lunge. Now, you might want to get your blocks. Separate your feet just a little bit wider in your lunge here. And you might want to shorten because we're going to think about rising up into that Warrior One variation with the back heel off the floor. Some call it a crescent. You can rise on up. Use your hands if you need on your thigh. Bring your hands to your heart if you can. Let yourself feel that openness in the front of the right hip. You're more than welcome to bring your arms up overhead if you're comfortable to do that. Otherwise, stay where you feel good to be. Use your hands on your thigh if you need. One more breath here. And then we'll come on down with our hands. Find your lunge. So you may decide you want to adjust a little bit before you twist. We'll bring our left hand into our left hip and turn on into twist here. Hand can stay on your hip or your low back. You can reach the arm up if you choose. And then we'll come on back down into lunge. We're going to make our way back to downward facing dog pose from here. Once you're in dog, do what feels good, right? Coming in for vinyasas or kriyas if you choose to. Putting your knees down. Resting in child's pose if you'd like. Or even just staying in your dog to rest. Good. And we'll meet back in down dog. And this time, right foot is going to come forward. And again, remember you're going to lift up. So you may want your blocks to kind of give you a little support till you get your stance to where you think, okay, I can bring myself up, or I need to come back down and readjust a little bit. Bringing your hands to your heart if you can. Feeling your shoulders over your hips. Whether you want to bring your arms up overhead or not, up to you. One more breath. And then we'll bring our hands back down. We're going to find lunge, remember, to add a twist. So you may want to adjust a little bit there. And then bringing your right hand onto your hip or your low back, rolling that shoulder up. adding the arm up if you'd rather. Nice. And then we'll come on back down. We're going to make our way back into down dog from here. So come into your dog. Take your time if you like to move through for a plank and into a back bend, whether you come through chaturanga or maybe you feel like you just want to come out to plank and through to your back bend. And then we'll meet back in down dog. This time, left foot comes forward. Now, have both your blocks handy in case you need them. We're coming up for warrior 2 this time, though. So get yourself established there. The line, heels in line, the back foot in the place that feels good for you. Let your hands just stay down for a second. Really feel your legs. Look down at your left knee. And then let's start to rise those arms on up. A little bit higher than your shoulders for your hands. But let the shoulders melt down as you reach out through the fingertips. Feel the feet equal in the floor. Imagine you're trying to lengthen your mat a little bit with your feet. Feel how your hips engage there. And then float your left heel just a little bit up off the floor. Just a little. And then we'll lower that heel on down. Turn the left palm up and inhale, reach up into your reverse warrior. And on your next exhale, coming into your side angle. So your left hand or forearm coming onto your thigh, bringing that right arm up into line if you can. Now, once you get the arm up, if you're okay to bend your elbow, put your hand behind your head for a second. Feel the back of the head just gently pressing into that right hand there. And then extend again into that long arm, extended side angle. We're going to come on back to warrior 2 from here, pressing the feet away from each other as we come. And now straighten your left knee out and bring your left hand down for triangle. So as you come down with that left hand, you decide if you want to grab a block. Block, remember, can be in front of or behind that left leg. You can be on your leg with your hand, whatever works. Thighs engage up towards the hips. Feel that length out through the top of the head. And if you feel like you want to try to look up a little bit, you can press a little forward with that right hand. And now turn to look down at your left foot. Make sure you're not rolling on it. And then bend your left knee. We're going to come on back into warrior 2, pressing those feet away from each other to get right back up into that warrior 2. And then let's bring our hands down and turn our feet more parallel to each other. And come on forward into a wide-legged forward bend. Grab blocks if you know you like blocks under your hands. And now once you get there, bend both your knees a little bit and walk your hands a little to the right. Not much, just a little. And then walk back through center and a little to the left. And then come on back into center again. And now if you want to bend one knee and straighten the other one out a couple of times and go back and forth, do. And then set up here to be with your breath. Perhaps you want to have blocks underneath your hands or your forearms or your head. Maybe you feel fine to let yourself release hands to hold your ankles or have your hands between your feet. But just find that place where it's very easy just to release into your breath. Don't want to feel discomfort in your back. Following your breaths all the way in and all the way out. One more full deep breath here. And then let's walk our hands back out. We're going to walk back to our left foot. Come on back into lunge. And we'll make our way then back into downward facing dog pose. You're on your own again. So if you'd like to do vinyasas or kriyas, if you'd rather put your knees down and rest, put your knees down and rest. If you'd rather let dog be a resting pose there, then do. Good. And then we'll meet back in downward facing dog pose. And we'll bring our right foot forward from here, coming up for warrior 2 on the other side. So again, lining up those heels, letting yourself find that alignment of that front knee. Bending that front knee, remember, where you know it's not going out beyond your ankle. If you need to lengthen your stance, do. Rise your arms on up, again, a little bit higher than your shoulders. Bring your gaze over to look out over the right hand. Let the shoulders melt down. Feel the feet and the floor equally. See if you can float your right heel up a little bit off the floor. Imagine your outer right hip kind of dropping down when you lift that heel up. Your knee gets right into alignment there. And then lower the heel on back down. We're going to turn the right palm up and inhale into that reverse warrior. And on the exhale, come into your side angle. So right hand or forearm to your thigh, adding that left arm up if you choose. So finding that length really through both sides of the body. And try to feel that outer right hip drawing back again. Drawing back, dropping down a little. And then bend your left elbow. Put your hand behind your head if you can. Press the head gently into the hand, but don't let the head go backwards. Just really feel the engagement there. And then extend into that long arm for extended side angle. And we're going to come on back into warrior 2. Pressing the feet away from each other. Now let's straighten the right knee out and bring the right hand down for our triangle. So again, you can be on your leg, you can grab a block, being any height in front of or behind your leg there. Feel the thighs engaging up. And now if you kind of feel like you have a wall right in front of that left hand and you press into the wall, sometimes that enables you to turn to look up a little easier. A little bit different engagement there. Thighs still lifting up towards the hips. One more breath. Now look down towards the floor at your right foot. Bend your right knee. Press the feet away from each other as you rise back up into warrior 2. Reaching out through the fingertips, softening the shoulders down. And then we're going to straighten that right leg out, turn our feet again more parallel. And we're going to come on forward. Now, once you do, you can do blocks if you want or hands on the floor. Walk way out with your hands like you're doing a down dog. Let your hands be a little wider, though, than you are in your dog. And then just let the chest melt down a little bit and backwards a little bit. Opening up there in the upper back. It's a little bit of a back bend going on. And then walk your hands back closer, and let's walk over towards our right foot. Now, you can come all the way over to the foot if you want, holding on with your right hand to the outside of your right ankle and your left hand on top of your right hand. And just stay there and breathe. And then we'll come on back through center and over to the left. Again, you don't have to go all the way to the foot. Go how far you want. Or left hand can be on the outside of the foot and ankle, right hand on top. You can draw yourself over if that feels good. One more breath. And then we're going to walk our hands on back towards center. And set up again for yourself, where you're most comfortable. Grab blocks if you want. Use them for support. Underneath your forearms. Underneath your head if you want. You can do the traditional hands between the feet. Shoulder distance apart. Elbows hugging inward. Shoulders coming away from your ears. And then be again with your breath. Really let yourself release through your face and your jaw. And all around your eyes, really. Good. One more breath. And as we walk our hands back out, find a nice long back here at first. Really lengthen out. And then we'll walk back to the right foot to come on back into lunge. And coming on into downward facing dog pose. So walk a little bit to the tops of your feet, and then last vinyasas or kriyas if you want to do any more. So if you decide you want to come out for plank and move to a back bend, however you choose, you can, or not, of course. Good. And then let's meet back in down dog. Bend both your knees really deeply. Imagine your belly coming onto your thighs. And then look up between your hands. Decide if you want to jump or walk your way up there. So coming forward, however you choose to get there, into your standing forward bend. Let your hands, if possible, come up and clasp your hands on your low back. And you know if that's too much, don't do it. Let your hands support you, elbows above the knees if you want. Just be mindful. Let yourself feel your sit bones over your heels. Good. And then let your knees bend deeper. Press into your feet. Rise on up to standing. And let's inhale the arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. Enjoy your mountain pose. If you need to shift around a little bit, it's fine to sway around a little bit. Get your feet where you feel the most stable and the most balance between your feet. Balance between the front and the back of your body. Just finding that quiet strength of simply standing in your mountain pose. Good. We're going to let our arms come on down now. Swing around a little bit. If you need to walk around, do. Take your time. We're going to bring our mats to a wall if you're here in the studio. And if you're at home and you have a wall that you can use, let yourself do it. So that you walk in, and it doesn't necessarily mean you have to have your mat under your feet here. That's up to you. And you might want to block too. So let's come to a wall and bring our right shoulder turned towards the wall. And if you do want to use a block, we're going to practice a little eagle. If you want to use that block between your right foot and the wall, you can. Crossing that left thigh over the right, bending both your knees. And if you want to hook your foot around behind your leg, go right to it. If your legs do that, you can let yourself come into that, or you can put your foot on the block, or you can just flex the foot. And then just play a little bit. You can have your hand on the wall, or you can bring your right arm over your left and come into a little bit of a balance here. Sometimes the block helps you because you can kind of lift your toes up and play a little bit. Thighs are squeezing towards each other. Good. And then we're going to release and come on up out of that, and we're going to turn around. Go to the other side. So shake it out a little bit if you need to. Bringing the right thigh over the left. Again, if your hips allow you and your knees allow you to hook your foot around, you can hook your foot around behind the back of that supporting leg. You can bring yourself into a wrap. Left arm over the right if you want. Don't need to. You can have your hands just right together at your heart in prayer hands. You can have a hand on the wall. One more breath. And then we're going to unwind, and we're going to come on around and down to our feet back towards the wall and find a little child's pose here to release the hips after that. So big toes to the wall, separate your knees and let yourself come on forward. Whether you want to use support or not, remember you can grab a block and put it under your head. You can put your forehead on your hands, or you can let the arms be soft overhead, or bring the hands back alongside your legs. So you bring your arms into a place where you're really released in your shoulders. And then breathing into the low back. Appreciating those breaths, expanding the low back. Good. And then bring your arms overhead and lift up enough just to thread the needle with your left arm underneath. And as you do, and you come on down, you can let the left side of the head rest on the floor, or you can put your right hand under your head if that's better. You can stretch the right arm out overhead if that feels good too. And just breathe now. And then bring the right hand by your face so you can press up. And we're going to switch and just thread the needle with the right arm coming under and coming down towards the right side of the head. Let yourself release. Elbow can be soft. Arm can reach out overhead if you want. And then again, be with your breath. And let your left hand come back and come on up. Let's bring both our arms forward here now. And we're going to come on up. Now, whether you want to come to all fours and lift up into a down dog with your heels up the wall, if you know your wrists have had enough, you'd rather go onto your forearms right now, you can. Take your time. Let yourself feel your elbows hugging towards each other. And if you want to bring your feet a little closer together and bring one foot up the wall, you can. Engaging the belly. If you feel like you're wanting to switch legs, you can bring that foot down and bring the other foot up. Keep those elbows hugging towards each other. And then, of course, coming down whenever you want to rest. So if you are ready to come down and take a little break, maybe even coming down to your forearms instead of being on your hands if you were working on your hands. And then, of course, you can rest and not go back up, or you can go back up again. Some of you might want to put both feet up the wall at the same time. And that is up to you. Good. And when you're ready, let yourself come on to rest in child's pose, or if you feel better to sit up with your head above your heart, do. And just breathe. Good. And now we're going to come on forward onto our bellies from here. So take your time. Come on forward. Get far enough away from the wall where, you can stretch your legs long and you're not hitting the wall with your feet. And come on in. Come on up onto your forearms into a Sphinx pose. And let that be a nice release here. Bringing your gaze there between your hands. Spreading your fingers nice and wide. Let yourself feel that connection on the floor. Look a little bit forward if you can of between your hands. So not so much that you lift and tighten the back of the neck, right? But there's this happy place where it's like, I just feel more open here. Good. And then bring your left forearm more parallel to the front edge of the mat. Bend your right knee. Flex the right foot. Now, whether you want to reach back with your right hand now and get hold of that foot in your half bow or not is up to you. See if you have the foot, pull the heel in towards your buttocks a little bit more. And then start to press the foot into your hand like you're trying to lengthen your leg. If you want to bring your left arm back more to give you support to lift up higher, you can. That's optional. And then we're going to release. We're going to come down, bring our right forearm parallel to the front edge of the mat. Bend your left knee, flex the foot. And then again, this reaching back to hold on to the top of the foot or the ankle is up to you. If you have it, maybe pull the heel in towards the outer buttocks a little bit at first. Feeling that quad release there. And that's totally different than pressing the foot into your hand now, which engages in a different way your thigh. You can bring your arm closer underneath you if you want to rise up higher into your half bow pose. And then we're going to release down. Bring your arms down alongside you. Turn your palms down towards the ground. And on your next inhale, come on up into a locust at first. Just let yourself be easy. It doesn't have to be high. Reach back through your fingertips and see if you can point your toes for a second. And then just draw the toes back, but press into the balls of your feet. And then we're going to release down. Let yourself just take a breath into your low back. And now you can either go back to that locust we were just in, or some of you might want to reach back, get hold of the tops of your feet, and press your feet into your hands and rise into a little bow pose. That's up to you. You can stay in locust. Good. And then we're going to release down. From here, shift back to your hands and knees. And then bring your left knee forward. We're going to come on into pigeon pose here. So if you know you need to do that alternate form of pigeon where you lie on your back and do a figure 4, do it. Or grab a blanket to put underneath the left side too, if that helps you. So that left knee is angling towards the left front corner of your mat. And your left heel is kind of coming in towards your right hip pointer bone there. And then take your time. You can lift up, if possible, letting yourself come up either onto blocks with your hands or up as high as you want to go. Feeling that openness in the front of the right hip. Good. Beautiful. One more breath. And then we're going to come forward and let yourself use whatever support you need. Forearms can stay on the floor. You can grab blocks if you want. You can fold all the way to put your head down on your hands or on the floor. Feel that top of the right foot gently coming into the mat. Now, some of you from here might feel good to come up and thread the needle with your right arm and come down onto the right side of your head. Now, you can do that. Put your left hand up on your back if you want. You can slide your left hand around towards the right side of the back, or even reaching all the way around towards your left foot there. Totally optional. This little twist is an optional move. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to come back around as you're in that twist. Come on back up. We're going to switch legs. So take your time. Let yourself come back either through child's pose or down dog, if that helps you even out a little bit. Because then we're going to bring that right knee on forward and towards the right front corner of your mat. If you need that blanket, grab it and put it underneath that bent leg side, the right side, under the right hip, so that you're trying to stay fairly level in your hips. You can lift up if you want, coming up a little higher. Really enjoy pressing gently into the top of the left toes so you can feel that openness through the front of the left hip. Good. And now as you do come forward, take your time. Use whatever you want. Block underneath your forearms or under your head. Let yourself release to where you can be. Breathing into your low back. And then this addition of this twist, totally optional, bringing the left arm through into that threading the needle. And you can either just lay right there with your head on your right hand, Or you can bring the right hand up onto your back if you want, or maybe slip it around towards that left side more if you like that. If your shoulder feels good with that. Good. And one more nice full breath here. And now be easy as you come on back into center if you were in that twist. Now from here, all we're going to do is roll onto our right side a little bit and then stretch that right leg out and come on up into a wide angle, right? So grab, if you need, sit up on a blanket, right? You can have your legs out as far as feels good to you where you have your knees and your toes facing up towards the ceiling. Sitting up higher can help, especially if you have this tendency to round the tailbone forward. You want to really, if you can, get back into that natural curve of your low back. And then coming on forward, whether you just want to slide your hands down your legs or put your hands on the floor or a block in front of you. Releasing to where it feels good to let yourself come forward with that length of the spine. Feel your inner thighs. Now just imagine your heels are drawing down towards the ground and then drawing back towards you. And you're pressing a little bit into the balls of your feet. Now you're engaged both in the front and the back of your legs. Good. One more breath here. And then we're going to take our time to come on back up and bring your legs on around in front of you here. And if you're okay to roll down onto your back from here so that you use your curling of the tailbone up and you roll down sequentially through your spine. And mind you, that is not for everybody. So if you know that hurts you, don't do it. You get down however you want. So that once you do get down, you can just bring your knees into your chest. And let the knees come a little bit side to side. Release here. Good. And then let your feet come onto the floor so your knees are bent. And let yourself imagine now. Kind of roll your shoulders under a little bit. We're not going to do bridge pose, but it's that same idea of rolling your shoulders under, feeling like if you had a string attached to your sternum, it's going straight up towards the ceiling. And then see if you can shift a little more to the top of your head, to the back of the top of the head. A little fish pose right here. So you can use your arms a little bit. You can press down into your arms. Let yourself feel that lift to the sternum upward. And then release. Come on back down. Let yourself do a couple of little pelvic tilts. So as you exhale, you feel your tailbone curling up a little bit. The low back releases into the floor. Now, let's try the little fish again. Now, totally up to you. You can keep your knees bent like this, or you can stretch your legs out if that feels better for you. And then you can lift up again, thinking about coming to the top of the back of the head. And don't do these if you're like, oh, there is no way, you know. If it provides for you a really nice stretch through your throat, if it bothers your neck, don't do it. But if it feels really good. And then when you're ready, come on back down again and bring your right knee on into your chest. Flex through both your feet. Let yourself enjoy. And then hold the back of your right thigh and extend your right leg up. Slide the right thigh over towards the outer ribs a little bit so you're kind of pulling down. Your hands are pulling your thigh down and out towards the outer ribs. And then maybe you can reach up and get hold of your foot. Right hand to the pinky toe side of your foot, left hand to the big toe side of the foot. The knee's really bent. And there you go into a really deep opening at the front of the left hip. And now hold on to the back of the thigh again. And then start to, if you can, extend into a longer right leg. Now, you can hold on to your big toe. You can do your big toe hold if that feels good, or you can hold on behind your thigh or your calf. Reach up to your ankle if you want to. Let yourself just feel that openness here in the back of the right leg. And now see if you can open this leg out to the right. So you come into staying very grounded in the left side. Don't let the hip pop up. You can use your left hand there on the top of the hip, kind of press down a little bit. And then let's come back up to the top and let your left hand come over towards that right leg. We're going to come across into twist. You can bend the knee if you want, or you can keep the leg straighter and come over. You can even reach your right foot into your left hand if you choose to do that. Letting yourself only go as deeply as you want into that twist. Good. And then we'll come on back up to the top with the leg. And bend that knee back into your chest again. Press the leg into your hands. Find that sense of the low back finding its natural curve. And then bring your left knee in. And we'll extend the right leg down long on the floor. Flex through both your feet. Enjoy here. And then hold on behind your left thigh. Send the left foot up. You're still very deeply bent in your knee. And you're kind of drawing the thigh towards the outside of your ribs a little bit. And that way then maybe you can reach up and get your foot with both hands. Right hand on the big toe mound, left hand on the little toe mound. So that's up to you. You don't have to hold the foot. Let it feel good. You're really releasing the hip. Feel that openness in the front of your right hip. And then come on back, a little more to the leg, coming a little more in towards the body, and then start to extend the leg up. Again, you can hold behind your thigh. You can do the big toe hold, pointer finger, middle finger wrapped around your big toe. If you're doing that big toe hold, really just release your left shoulder towards the ground. Press the toe gently into your fingers, but let your fingers resist a little bit. Feel the right leg long, the right heel on the ground there. And we're going to open the leg out to the left. So coming into that outward hip rotation, finding your left inner thigh. Again, stay grounded in that right side. You can always put your right hand there on your hip pointer bone and kind of let yourself press down into the floor with that right side. Good. And then we'll come back up to the top. We're going to switch hands so that right hand can come over wherever you want as you come across the body with the leg towards the right. And that twist and how deeply you go is totally up to you. So take your time. If you need to bend the knee, do it. If you don't want to go very far, if you don't want to release your left hip off the floor, don't. One more breath here, really letting yourself feel that left shoulder releasing down towards the ground. And then we'll come on back up to the top. Bend that knee. Let yourself then just press the shin gently into your hands and let the back release. And then bring both knees on into the chest. Let the knees circle a little bit in one direction. And then just reverse and go the other direction. And then stretch your legs up so that you just let yourself do those little cross-country ski movements a little bit. So you're just letting the legs go forward and back. Knees can be bent or straight, it's up to you. And then listen to your own body. What exactly would feel good to do right now? And it may not be anything like what anybody else feels like doing. So let yourself, if there's another pose or another stretch, it doesn't have to be a yoga pose or just another movement. Let yourself do what feels good. And that could be anything. Take your time. If you need to do a little bridge or supported bridge, if you want to do a plow pose, if there's anything at all that sounds good. And thank you. I'm here to bring, at the studio at least, things to help you be more comfortable. So if the idea of a bolster underneath your knees, or you have a wall right there. If anybody wants to turn and lie with their legs up the wall because that feels really good, you can let yourself turn and bring your legs up the wall. How close you are with your hips to the wall is totally up to you. So take your time, get comfortable, use any support. If you need a blanket in the back of your head to allow yourself to release, especially if your chin is rising up a little bit and you feel this shortness in the back of the neck, just use a little bit of support so you can let go through your throat, your jaw, letting your face be soft now. And starting just to let yourself be with your own breath. There's nothing you need to do. Just watch your breaths coming in and going out. Your mind will wander, and when you come back to your breath, you know that you found these little places of quietness. Those little quiet places are what give your body and your brain time to benefit from all you just did. So give yourself these few minutes, allowing yourself to completely and fully relax.
And very gradually now, let your awareness come back to feeling the ground underneath you supporting you again. Feeling that sense of the breath coming in and going out. Letting it get deeper and fuller if you can. Letting those breaths start to refresh you and bring you back into wanting to move again. Let your fingers and your toes lead you if you can into moving. Your hands, your feet, up into your arms, your legs. You may decide to bring your knees up and in, or you may want to stretch everything out. Just let your body naturally come back to moving the way it wants. You're welcome to roll on to either side if you're comfortable to be on your side in a soft fetal position. You can use your arm as a pillow if that helps, and give yourself just a few more breaths. Make an adjustment there. And be easy. When you do feel like you're okay to rise up to sitting, let yourself sit however's comfortable so that when you do come to sit up there again with your head up on top, you can feel really easy in your hips. Let your hands rest in a place where you feel good in your shoulders. Feel that reaching up through the top of your head so that you have a lot of space in your spine, lots of room to breathe. And on your next exhale, let your hands come gently to meet there in front of your chest. And wishing each one of you a very joyful day. Namaste. Happy Tuesday and happy Thanksgiving, everybody.